Mega love shout out everyone. It's Sabbath day and it's time for us to read God's word and we will continue our reading in the book of Proverbs and we are now in chapter 20 21. And before I read, I'm going to tell you again what the book of Proverbs um, about, more teaching or how do we understand what the book of Proverbs. And as we all know that the book of Proverbs, we are learning a lot of this book. And this book of Proverbs includes the Old Testament of the Bible, which is a sacred text of Christians and Jews. Proverbs are biblical wisdom regarding morality and right versus wrong. So let's start reading. Alrighty, we are reading in it's we are reading Proverbs 20. He who excuse me, he who follows righteousness and mercy finds life, righteousness, and honor. A wise man scales the city of the mighty and brings down the trusted stronghold. Whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from troubles. A proud and haughty man scoffer is his name. He acts with arrogant pride. The desire of the lazy man kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. He covets greedily all day long, but the righteous gives and does not spare. As the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination, how much more when he brings it with wicked intent? A false witness shall perish, but the man who hears him will speak endlessly. A wicked man hardens his face, but as for the right me, but as for the right upright, he establishes his way. There is no wisdom or understanding or counsel against the Lord. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but deliverance is of the Lord. Proverbs chapter 22. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver and gold. The rich and the poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all. A prudent man foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. By humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor on life. Thorns and snares are in the way of the perverse. He who guards his soul will be far from them. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. The rich ruler over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. He who sows iniquity will reap sorrows, and the rod of his anger will fail. He who has a generous eye will be blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. Cast out the scoffer, and contention will live. Yea, yes, the stripes and reproach will cease. He who loves purity of heart and has grace of his lips, the king will be his friend. The eyes of the Lord preserve knowledge, but he overthrows the words of the faithless. The lazy man says, "There is a lion outside. I shall be slain in the streets." The mouth of an immoral woman is a deep pit. He who is abhorred by the Lord will fall there. Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child. The rod of correction will drive it far from him. He who oppresses the poor to increase his riches, and he who gives to the rich will surely come to poverty. Incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your heart to my knowledge. For it is a pleasant thing if you keep them within you. Let them all be fixed upon your lips, so that your trust may be in the Lord. I have instructed you today, even you. Have I not written to you excellent things of counsels and knowledge, that are not written to you excellent things of counsel and knowledge, that I may make you know the certainty of the words of truth, that you may answer words of truth to those who sing to you. Do not rob the poor because he is poor, nor oppress the afflicted at the gate, for the Lord will plead their cause and plunder the soul of those who plunder them. Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man do not go, lest you learn his ways and set a snare for your soul. Do not be one of those who shakes hands in pledge, and one of those who is surely for debts. If you have nothing with which to pay, why should he take away your bed from under you? Do not remove an ancient landmark which your father have set. Do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before a known man. Chapter 23. When you sit down to eat with a ruler, consider carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat. If you are a man given to appetite, do not desire his delicacy, for they are deceptive food. Do not overwork to be rich because of your own understandings. Sis, will you set your eyes on that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away like an eagle toward heaven. Do not eat the bread of a miser, nor desire his delicacies. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he eat and drink, he says to you. But his heart is not with you. The morsel you have eaten, you will vomit up, and waste your pleasant words. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. Do not remove the ancient landmark, nor enter the fields of the fatherless, for the Redeemer is mighty. he will plead their cause against you. Apply your apply your heart to instruction and your ears to words of knowledge. Do not withhold correction from a child, for if you beat him with a rod, he will not die. You shall beat him with a rod and deliver his soul from hell. My son, if your heart is wise, my heart will rejoice indeed. I myself, yes, my inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak right things. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but be jealous for the fear of the Lord all the day. For surely there is a hereafter, and your hope will not be cut off. Hear, my son, and be wise, and guide your heart in the way. Do not mix with wine bibbers, or with gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and drowsiness will clothe a man with rags. Listen to your father who begat you, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Buy the truth and do not sell it. O wisdom and instruction and understanding. The father of the righteous will greatly rejoice, and he who begets a wise child will delight in him. Let your father and your mother be glad, and let her who bore you rejoice. My son, give me your heart, and let your eyes observe my ways. For a harlot is a deep pit, and a seductress is a narrow well. She also lies in wait for us for a victim, and increases the unfaithful among men. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has contentions? Who has complaints? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eyes? Those who linger long at the wine, those who go in search of mixed wine, do not look on the wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup, when it swirls around smoothly. At the last it bites like a serpent and stings like a viper. Your eyes will see strange things, and your heart will utter perverse things. Yes, you will be like one who lies down in the midst of the sea, or like one who lies on the top of the mast, saying, they have struck me, but I was not hurt. They have beaten me, but I did not feel it. When shall I awake that I may seek another drink? Do not be in Proverbs 24. Do not be envious of evil men, nor desire to be with them, for their heart devises violence, and their lips talk of troublemaking. Though through wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is strong. Yes, a man of knowledge increases strength. For by wise counsel you will bewitch your own war. In a multitude of counselors there is safety. Wisdom is too lofty for a fool. He does not open his mouth in a gate. He who plots to do evil will be called a simmer. To devising of a foolishness is a sin, and the scoffer is an abomination to men. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Deliver those who are drawn toward death, and hold back those stumbling to the slaughter. If you say, surely we did not know this, does not he who weighs the hearts consider it? He who keeps your soul, does he not know it? And will he not render to each man according to his deeds? My son, eat honey because it is good, and the honeycomb which is sweet to your taste. So shall the knowledge of wisdom be your soul. If you have found it, there is a prospect, and your hope will not be cut off. Do not lie in wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. Do not plunder his resting place, for a righteous man may fall 7 times and rise again, but the wicked shall fall by calamity. Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and do not let your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest the Lord see it and it displeases him, and he turn away his wrath for him. Do not fret because of evildoers, nor be envious of the wicked, for there will be no prospect for the evil man. The lamp of the wicked will be put out. My son, fear the Lord and the king, and do not associate with those given to change, for their calamity will rise suddenly, and who knows the ruin that two can bring. These things also belong to the wise. If it is not good to show partially in judgment. He who says to the wicked, you are righteous, him the people will curse. Nations will abhor him, but those who rebuke the wicked will have delight. And a good blessing will come upon them. He who gives a right kisses the lips. Prepare your outside work, make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterward build your house. Do not be a witness against your neighbor without cause. For who would you deceive with your lips? Do not say, I will do to him just as he has done to me. I will render to the man according to his work. I will buy the fields of the lazy man, and by the vineyard of a man devoid of understanding. And there it was, all overgrown with thorns. Its surface was covered with needles. Its stones wall was broken down. When I saw it, I considered it well. I looked on it and received instruction. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. So shall your poverty come like a prowler, and your needs like an armed man. Proverbs 25. These also are Proverbs of Solomon, which the man of Hezekiah, king of Judah, copied. It is the glory of God to counsel a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter. As the heaven for height and the earth for depth, so the heart of kings is unsearchable. Take away the dross for silver, and it will go to the silversmith for jewelry. Take away the wicked from before the king, and his throne will be established in righteousness. Do not exalt yourself in the presence of the king, and do not stand in the place of the great, for it is better that he say to you, come up here, than that soul should be put lower in the presence of the prince, whom your eyes have seen. Do not go hastily to court, but for what will you do in the end when your neighbor has put you to shame? Debate your case with your neighbor, and do not disclose the secret to another, lest he who hears it expose your shame and your reputation be ruined. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silver, like an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold, is a wise rebuker to an obedient ear. Like the cold of snow in the time of harvest, is a faithful messenger to those who send him. For he refreshes the soul of his masters. Whoever falsely boasts of giving is like clouds and wind without rain. By long forbearance is a ruler, a long forbearance a ruler is persuaded. And a gentle tongue breaks a bone. Have you found money? Have you found honey? Eat only as much as you need, lest you be filled with it and vomit. Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house, lest he become weary of you and hate you. A man who bears false witness against his neighbor is like a club, a sword, and a sharp arrow. Confidence in an unfaithful man in, in time of trouble is like a bad tooth and a foot out of joint, like one who takes away garment in cold weather, and like a vinegar on soda, is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For so you will heap coals of fire on his head, and the Lord will reward you. The north wind brings forth rain, and a backbiting tongue, and angry countenance. It is better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than in a house shared with a contentious woman. As cold water to a weary soul, so is good news from a far country. A righteous man who falters before the wicked is like a murky springs and a polluted well. It is not good to eat much honey, so to seek one's own glory is not glory. Whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls. Proverbs chapter 26. As snow in summer and rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool, like a fleeting sparrow, like a flying swallow. So a course without cause shall not alight, a whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and not and a rod for the fool's back. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. He who sends a message by the hand of the fool cut off his own feet and drinks violence, like the legs of the lame that hang limp, is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like one who binds a stone in a sling is he who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that goes into the hand of the drunkard, if a proverb in the mouth of fools. The great God who formed everything gives the fool his hire, and he and the transgressor his wages. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There is more be hope for a fool than for him. The lazy man says, there is a lion in the road. A first lion is in the streets. As a door turns on its hinges, so does the lazy man on his bed. The lazy man buries his hands in the bowl. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly. He who passes by and meddles in the quarrel not his own is like one who takes a dog by the ears. Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was only joking. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out. And when there is no talebearer, strife ceases. As charcoal is to burning coals and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of the talebearer are like tasty trifles, and they go down into the inmost body. Fervent lips with a wicked heart are like earth, earthenware covered with silver dross. He who hates his guys eat with his lips and lays up deceit within himself. When he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered with deceit, his wickedness will be revealed before the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will have it roll back on him. A lying tongue hates those who are crushed by it, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth. Let another man praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips. A stone is heavy, and sand is weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both of them. Wrath is cruel, and anger is torrent, but who is able to stand before jealousy? Open rebuke is better than love carefully concealed. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. A satisfied soul loads the honeycomb, but to a hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet. Like a bird that wanders from its nest is a man who wanders from his place. Ointment and perfume delight the heart, and the sweetness of a man's friends give delight by hearty's counsel. Do not forsake your own friend or your father's friend, nor go to your brother's house in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor nearby than a brother far away. My son, be wise and make my heart glad, that I may answer him who reproaches me. A prudent man foresees evil and hides himself. The simple passes on and are punished. Take the garment of him who is surely for a stranger, and hold it in pledge when he is surely for seductress. He who blesses his friend with a loud voice rising early in the morning, it will be counted a curse to him. A continual dripping on a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Whoever restrains her restrains the wind, and grasped oil with his right hand. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Whoever keeps the fig tree will eat its fruit, so he who waits on his master will be honored. As in water face reflects face, so a man's heart reveals the man. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of a man are never satisfied. The refining pot is for silver, and the furnace is for gold. And a man is valued, but others says of him, though you grind a fool in a mortar with a pestle along with crushed grain. Yes, yet his foolishness will not depart from him. Be diligent to know the state of your flocks, and attend to your herds, for riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations. When the day is removed, and the tender grass shows itself, and the herbs of the mountains are gathered in, the lambs will provide your clothing, and the goats the price of a field. You shall have enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and the nourishment to your maidservant. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Because of the transgression of the land, many are its princes. But by a man of understanding and knowledge, right will be prolonged. A poor man who presses the poor is like a driving rain, which leaves no food. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law content with them. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all. Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than one perverse in his ways, though he be rich. Whoever keeps the law is a discerning son, but a companion of gluttons shame his father. One who increases his possessions by usury and extortion gathers it for him who will pity the poor. One who turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination. Whoever causes the upright to go astray is an evil way. He himself will fall into his own pit, but the blameless will inherit good. The rich man is wise in his own eyes, but the poor, who has understanding, searches him out. When the righteous rejoice, there is great glory, but when the wicked arise, men hide themselves. He who covers his sins will not prosper, but whoever confesses and forsakes them will have mercy. Happy is the man who is always reverent, but he who hardens his heart will fall into calamity. Like a roaring lion and a changing bear is a wicked ruler over poor people. A ruler who lacks understanding is great oppressor, but he who hates covetousness will prolong his days. A man burdened with bloodshed will flee into a pit. Let no one help him. Whoever walks blamelessly will be saved, but he who is perverse in his ways will suddenly fall. He who tills his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows frivolity will have poverty enough. A faithful man will abound with blessings, but he who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. To chew partially is not good, because for a piece of bread a man will transgress. A man with an evil eye hastens after riches, and does not consider that poverty will come upon him. He who rebukes a man will find more favor afterward than he who flatters with the tongue. Whoever robs his father and his mother and says, "It is no transgression," the same is companion to a destroyer. He who is of a proud heart stirs up strife, but he who trusts in the Lord will be prospered. He who trusts in his own heart is a fool, but whoever walks wisely will be delivered. He who gives to the poor will not lack, but he who hides his eyes will have many curses. When the wicked arise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. He who is often rebuked and hardened his neck will suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when a wicked man rules, the people groan. Whoever loves wisdom makes his father rejoice, but a companion of harlots wastes his wealth. The king establishes the land by justice, but he who receives bribes overthrows it. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads the net for his feet. By transgression, an evil man is snared, but the righteous sings and rejoices. The righteous considers the cost of the poor, but the wicked does not understand such knowledge. Scoffers set a city in flame, but wise men turn away wrath. And if a wise man contends with a foolish man, whether the fool rages or laughs, there is no peace. The bloodthirsty hate the blameless, but the upright seek his well-being. A fool vents all his feelings, but a wise man holds him back. If a ruler pays attention to lies, all his servants become wicked. The poor man and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives light to the eyes of both. The king who judges the poor with truth. His throne will be established forever. The rod and rebuke give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. When the wicked are multiplied, transgressions increases, but the righteous will see their fall. Correct your son, and he will give you rest. Yes, he will give delight to your soul. Where there is no revelation, the people cast off restraint. But happy is he who keeps the law. A servant will not be corrected by mere words. For though he understands, he will not respond. Do you see a man hastily in his words? There is more hope for a fool than for him. He who pampers his servant from childhood will have him as a son in the end. An angry man stirs up strife, and a furious man abounds in transgression. A man's pride will bring him low, but the humble in spirit will retain honor. Whoever is a partner with a thief hates his own life. He swears to tell the truth, but reveals nothing. The fear of the man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord shall be safe. Many seeks the ruler's favor, but justice for man comes from the Lord. An unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, and he who is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. Proverbs chapter 30. The words of Agur, the son of Jakeh, his utterance, this man declared to Ethiel, and Ukal. Surely I am more stupid than any man and do not have the understanding of a man. Another learn wisdom, nor have knowledge of the Holy One. Who has ascended into heaven or descended? Who has gathered the wind in his fists? Who has bound the waters in the garments? Who has established all the ends of the earth? Who is his name and what is his son's name? If you know, every word of God is pure. He is a shield to those who put their trust in him. Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you, and ye and be and you be found a liar. Two things in request of you. Remove falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food allotted to me, lest I be full and deny you and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor or still and still, and profane the name of the Lord, and profane the name of the Lord. Do not do not malign a servant to his master, lest he curse you and you be found guilty. There is a generation that curses its father and does not bless its mother. There is a generation that is pure in its own eyes, yet is not washed from its filthiness. There is a generation, oh, how lofty and their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are like swords, and whose fangs are like knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among them men. A leech has two daughters, give and give. There are three things that are never satisfied, four never say, enough: the grave, the barren womb, the earth that is not satisfied with water, and the fire never says enough. The eye that mocks his father and scorns obedience to his mother, the ravens of the valley will pick it out, and the young eagles will eat it. There are three things which are too wonderful for me. Yes, four which I do not understand: the way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent on the rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a virgin. This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wickedness. For three things the earth is perturbed. Yes, for four it cannot bear up. For a servant when he reigns, a fool when he is filled with food, a hateful woman when she is married, and a maidservant who succeeds her mistress. There are four things which are little on the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their food in the summer. The rock badgers are a feeble folk, yet They make their home in the crags. The locusts have no king, yet they all advance in ranks. The spider skillfully grasps with its hands, and it is in kings' palaces. There are three things which are majestic in page, yes, four which are safely in walk. A lion which is mighty among beasts and does not turn away from any, a greyhound, a male goat also, and a king whose troops are with him. If you have been foolish in exalting yourself, or if you have devised evil, put your hand on your mouth. For as the churning of milk produces butter, and wringing the nose produces blood, so the forcing of wrath produces stripes. So, my friends, this reading for English version end up, and now let's go to the Visayan or the Cebuano version, which I will um, continue reading so that, like me and another people that I don't understand English, um, we will read this one. Okay, let's start sa Kapitulo 21. Ang kasing-kasing sa hari anaa sa kamot ni Jehova, maingon sa mga baha sa tubig. Siya nagapaliso niini sa bisan iin nga siya magabuot. Ang tagsitag sa kadalan sa usa ka tawo matarong sa iyang kaugalingong mga mata. Apan si Jehova magatimbang sa mga kasing-kasing. Ang pagbuhat sa kamatarong ug hostisya labi pang dawaton ni Jehova kaysa halad. Ang usa ka tinan-awan nga mapahitason um, Sandali lang ha. Kasi na sandali lang ha. Okay. Okay. Ang usa ka tinan-awan nga mapahitason o ang usa ka palabi-labihong kasing-kasing bisan ang lamparahan sa dautan sa lakman. Ang mga hunahuna sa makugihon nakapadulong ngadto sa pagkadagaya. Apan ang tagsa-tagsa ka madali-dalion nagadali lamang sa kawaladon. Ang pagbaton og mga bahan di pinaagi sa usa ka bakakong dila. Maoy, usa ka gabon nga ginapalit ngadto og kani adtong nagapangita sa kamatayon. Ang pagpanlupig sa dautan nagasilig kanila tungod kay sila nagadumili sa pagbuhat og hustisya. Ang dalan ni adtong nagatungob sa kasalanan baliko gayud kaayo. Apan alang ni adtong mga ulay ang iyang buhat matarong. Maayo pa ang pagpuyo diha sa pamangangan sa atop sa balay kaysa pakigkauban sa usa ka makig-awayong babae sa usa ka halapad nga balay. Ang kalag sa dautan nagatinguha sa dautan. Ang iyang isig katawo dili makakaplag og kaluoy diha sa iyang mga mata. Kung ang mayubiton pagasilutan ang walay pagtagad, mahimong manggialamon. Wait more a minute. Masakit ang ug kung ang manggialamon pahamatngunan siya makadawat og kahibalo. Ang tawong matarong nagatulimbag sa balay sa dautan unsaon sa pagkaunlod sa dautan ngadto sa ilang kapildihan. Bisan kinsa nga magas sampung sa iyang mga igdulungog sa pagtuaw sa kabus, siya usab magatuaw ra apan dili pagapatilingugan. Ang usa ka gasa sa tago magapagpuypoy sa kasuko ug ang usa ka hatag diha sa sabakan sa hilabihan nga kasuko. Mao'y kalipay sa matarong ang pagbuhat og hustisya. Apan mao'y usa ka pagkakaplag sa mga mamumuhat sa kasalanan. Ang tao nga nagasaag-saag gikan sa dalan sa pagsabot magapahulay sa katilingban sa mga minatay. Siya nga mahigugmaon sa kalingawan mahimong kabus na tawo. Siya nga mahigugmaon sa vino ug lana dili maadunahan. Ang dautan magiusa ka lukat alang sa matarong ug ang maluibon mudangat ang ili sa katulid. Maayo pang magpuyo sa usa ka yuta nga kamingawan kaysa pakig ipon sa usa ka makig-awayon ug maksukanon nga babaye. Adunay bililhon nga bahandi ug lana diha sa puloy-anan sa magialamon apan ang usa ka tawong buang magalamoy ni ana. Kadtong magasunod sa pagkamatarong ug sa kalulot makakaplag sa kinabuhi sa pagkamatarong ug kadungganan. Ang usa ka magialamon nga tawo makakatkat sa usa ka syudad sa gamhanan ug makapukan sa kusog nga gisaligan ni ana. Bisan kinsa nga magabantay sa iyang ug sa iyang dila, magabantay sa iyang kalag gikan sa mga kasama. Ang tawong pala bilabihon o garboso o mayubiton ang iyang ngalan, siya magabuhat nga nagapagkaon-ingnon sa iyang mapahitason. Ang tinguha sa tapulan nagapatay kaniya kay ang iyang mga kamot nagadumili sa pagbuhat. Adunay maibog sa pagkahako gayud sa tibuok adlaw apan ang matarong nagahatag og wala magatungina. Ang halad sa tawong dautan may usa ka dulongtanan. Daw unsa ka labaw pagayud kung iyang dadon kini uban sa dautan nga hunahuna. Ang usa ka bakakon nga saksi mahanag apan ang tawo nga nagapamati nagapadayon sa iyang gipamulong. Ang usa ka tawong dautan magapagahi sa iyang naong. Apan magtungod sa magatulid siya magalig-on sa iyang mga dalan. Walay kaalaman ang pagsabot ni tambag batok kang Jehova. Ang kabayo giandan batok sa adlaw sa gubat apan ang pagdaog iya kang Jehova. Ang usa ka maayong ngalan labi pang maayong piliun kaysa dagkong mga bahandi. Ug ang mahiugmaong kaluoy kaysa sa lapi ug bulawan. Ang adunahan ug ang kabus magakahibalag sila. Si Jehova mao ang nagbuhat kanilang tanan. Ang usa ka buutan nga tawo makakita sa dautan ug ang magatako sa iyang kaugalingon. Apan ang walay pagtagad mulabay lamang ug magaantos tungod niini. Ang balos sa pagkamapayubsanon ug pagkahadlok kang Jehova mao ang pagkaadunahan ug kadungganan ug kinabuhi. Mga tunok ug mga liag maoy anaa sa dalan sa masukihon. Kadtong magabantay siyang kalag mahilayo gikan kanila. Bansaya ang bata diha sa dalan sa iyang paggalaktan. Ug bisan kung siya matigulang na siya dili mobiya gikan ni ana. Ang adunahan magahari ibabaw sa kabus ug ang huhula mao ang ulipon sa magapahulam. Kadtong magapugas og kasalanan, nagaani og kalisdanan ug ang bara sa iyang kasuko makawang. Kadtong adunay usa ka mga mata nga madagayaon, pagabulahan. Kay siya nagahatag sa iyang tinapay sa kabus. Papahawaa ang mayubiton ug ang pagpakigbingkil mugula o ang pagkalalis ug pagpakaulaw mahunong. Kadtong mahagugma sa pagkaulay sa kasing-kasing tungod sa grasya sa iyang mga ngabil, ang hari mahimong iyang higala. Ang mga mata ni Jehova magapanalipod kaniya nga may kahibalo. Apan siya magawagtang sa mga pulong sa tawo nga budhion. Ang tapulan nagaingon, adunay usa ka leyon sa gawas. Ako pagapatyon diha sa kadalanan. Ang baba sa mga dumuluong babaye. Maoy usa ka halalong nga gahom. Siya nga gidungtan ni Jehova mahulog ni ana. Ang mga binuang nagbugkos diha sa kasing-kasing sa usa ka bata. Apan ang bunal sa pagbadlong makapalabog ni ana sa halayo gikan kaniya. Kadtong mga daog-daog sa kabus aron sa pagdugang sa iyang ganansya ug kadtong magahatag sa adunahan magadugang madangat lamang sa kawaladon. Ikiling ang imong igdulungog o pamitian ang mga pulong sa magialaman o gibitang ang imong kasing-kasing sa akong kahibalo. Kay kini mao'y butang na makalipay kung ikaw magatipig kanila diha kanimo. Kung sila mahiulo na pagtingob diha sa imong mga ngabil aron ang imong pagsalig maanaa kang Jehova. Kung gipahibalo ka nimo sila niya ng adlaw bisan kanimo, wala ba ako makasulat kanimo ug mga maayo uyamot nga mga butang sa mga tambag ug kahibalo. Aron pagpahibalo kanimo sa kasayuran sa mga pulong sa kamatuoran. Aron ikaw magadala pagbalik sa mga pulong sa kamatuoran ngadto kanila nga nagasugo kanimo. Ayaw pagkawati ang kabos tungod kay siya kabos. Ni magadaog-daog ka sa mga sinakit diha sa dangaan. Kay si Jehova magalaban sa ilang katungod ug muagaw sa kinabuhi niadtong nangagaw kanila. Ayaw pagpakigigala sa usa ka tawo nga maligot-guton ug sa masuk-anon nga tawo dili ka makigkuyog. Tingali unya ikaw makakat-on sa iyang mga dalan ug makabaton kas litag sa imong kalag. Dili ka paisip nga usa kanila nga nagapanghampak sa kamot kung kanila nga maoy mga pasalig tungod sa mga utang. Kung ikaw walay kapaingnan sa kapagbayad, anong iyang kuhaon ang imong higdaanan nga anaa sa ilalom nimo? Ayaw pagbalhina ang karaan nga muhon sa yuta nga gibutang sa imong mga amahan. Nakita mo ba ang usa ka tawo nga masing kamuton sa iyang patigayon? Siya magatindog sa tubangan sa mga hari. Siya dili magatindog atubangan sa bastos nga mga tawo. Kung ikaw magalingkod sa pagkaon uban sa usa ka punuan, paniiras sa masing kamuton siya nga naa sa imong atubangan. Ug ibutang ang usa ka tsuchilyo sa imong tutunlan. Kung ikaw usa ka tawo nga ulipon sa kailibgon, ayaw pagtinguhaa ang iyang mga piyamiang pagkaon. Sa nakita mo nga sila maoy malimbungon nga makakaon. Ayaw paghago sa imong kaugalingon sa pagpakadato. Hunong gikan sa imong kaugalingon kaalam. Ibutang mo ba ang imong mga mata ibabaw ni anang dili mao? Kasi pagkatinuod, ang mga bahandi magahimo og mga pako sa ilang kaugalingon. Sama sa usa ka agila na nagalupad paingon ngadto sa langit. Ayaw pag ayaw pagkan-a ang tinapay niya nga may usa ka dautan nga mata. Ni kaibgan mo ang iyang mga lamiang makaon. Kay moingon nga siya nagahuna-huna sa sulod sa iyang kaugalingon sa ingon ni ana mauman siya. Kumaon ka ug uminom siya, magaingon kanimo. Apan ang iyang kasing-kasing wala iduyog kanimo. Ang usa ka hungit nga imong nakaon, imong igasuka ug pagulaa ang imong mga matamis nga pulong. Aya pagsulti diha sa pagdungog sa usa ka buang. Kuy siya magatamay sa kaalam sa imong mga pulong. Ayaw pagbalhina ang karaang muhon sa yuta ug ayaw pagsulod sa kaumahan sa mga ilo. Kay ang ilang mamamawi kusganon man. Siya magalaban sa ilang katungod batok kanimo. Ibutang ang imong kasing-kasing sa pahamatnon o ang imong mga igulungog sa mga pulong sa kahibalo. Ayaw pagpugni ang pagbadlong gikan sa bata pa kay kung imong hampakon siya sa bunal, siya dili mamatay. Imong paghampakon gayud siya uban sa bunal. Ang maluwas ang iyang kalag gikan sa syol. Anak ko, kung ang imong kasing-kasing magmaalamon, ang akong kasing-kasing magmalipayon bisan ang akong kasing-kasing. Oo, ang akong kasing-kasing magmalipayon kung ang imong mga ngabil magapamulong sa mga butang nga matarong. Ayaw itugot sa imong kasing-kasing sa pagkasina sa mga makasasala apan himua ang pagkahadlok kang Jehova sa tanang mga adlaw. Kaysa pagkatinuod anunay usa ka balos ug ang imong paglaom dili pagakutlan. Mamati ka anak ko ug magmalamon ka ug mandui ang imong kasing-kasing diha sa dalan. Ayaw pagtipon taliwala sa mga palainom sa ginom, taliwala sa mga ulitan nga kumakaon sa unod. Kay ang pagpalahubog ug ang ulitan mudangat sa kawaladon ug ang hingatulog magapasapot sa usa ka tawo sa mga noo. Pamati sa imong amahan nga nanganak kanimo ug ayaw pagtamaya ang imong inahan kay siya matigulang na. Palita ang kamatuoran ug ayaw kini ibaligya. Oo ang kaalam ug ang paghamatmon ug ang salabutan. Ang amahan sa matarong malipayon sa dako uyamot ug ang kadtong nanganak sa usa ka manggialamon nga bata. Nagamalipayon tungod kaniya, lipaya ang imong amahan ug ang imong inahan. Ug pagsadya siya siya pagsadyaa siya nga nanganak kanimo. Anak ko, ihatag kanako ang imong kasing-kasing ug ipahimuot sa imong mga mata. Ang akong mga dalan ug ang iyang usa ka bigaon mao usa ka halalom nga kanal ug ang usa ka babayi nga dumuluog mao'y usa ka masigpit nga gahom. Oo, siya magabanhig ingon sa usa ka kawatan ug magadugang sa mga maluibon. Sa tiliwala sa mga tao, kinsa man ang may kasakit, kinsa man ang may kasubo, kinsa man ang may panagdingkil, kinsa man ang may pagbagulbol, kinsa man ang may mga samad nga walay gipasikaran, kinsa man ang mga kapula sa mga mata, mao kadtong makapabilin sa pag-inom og bino, kadtong magapanggula aron sa pagpangita sa sinakot nga bino. Dili ka magatan-aw sa bino kung kini magapula, kung kini magapangidlap sulod sa kupa. Sa diha nga kini magaagay nga mahapsay kaysa katapusan niini magapamaak sama sa bitin og moikos sama sa udto-udto og ang imong mga mata makasud-ong sa mga butang nga katingalahan ug ang imong kasing-kasing magapamulong sa baliko nga mga butang. Oo, ikaw maga oo ikaw maingon ni adtong nagahigda kinataliwad-an sa dagat. Kung moingon ni adtong nagahigda sa kinatumyan sa palo sa sakyanan. Sila nagabunal kanako moingon ka ug ako wala maunsa, sila naglatos kanako ug kini wala ko batia. Ano sa ba ko magamata? Pangitaon ko pa kini pag-usab. Dili ka masina sa mga daotang tawo, ni matingala ka sa pakig-uban kanila. Kay ang ilang kasing-kasing magatuon sa pagdaog-daog ug ang ilang mga ngabil magapamulong sa daotang buhat. Pinaagi sa kaalam, natukod ang usa ka balay, ug pinaagi sa salabutan niini nalig-on, ug pinaagi sa kahibalo nangapuno ang mga lawak sa tanang mga bililhon ug makalilipay nga mga bahandi. Ug ang usa ka tawo nga mangialamon, husganon man oo ang usa ka tawo sa kahibalo magauswag sa kagahom. Kay pinaagi sa maalamon nga pagmando, ikaw magahimo sa imong gubat. Ug diha sa panon sa mga magtatambag walay kapildihan ang kaalam raga ayo alang sa usa ka buang. Siya dili makabuka sa iyang baba diha sa gangaan. Siya nga magalaglag sa pagbuhat sa duhat ug dautan o ang mga tawo magatawag kaniya nga usa ka mamumuhat sa kadautan. Ang hunahuna nga binuang salaman ug ang mayubiton mao usa ka dulongtanan sa mga tawo. Kung ikaw punawan sa adlaw sa kalisdanan, ang imong kusog jutay ra. Luwason mo kadtong nangadala kadto sa kamatayon ug kadtong manggana naandam na aron pagapat yun tan-awa nga sila imong magunitan. Kung ikaw moingon aniya karon wala kami manghibalo niini, wala ba siya nga nagatimbang sa mga kasing-kasing magauna-una niini, ug siya nga nagatbantay sa imong kalag, wala ba siya mahibalo niini, ug wala ba siya magabalos sa tagsa-tagsa katawo sumala sa iyang buhat? Anak ko, kumaon ka og dugos kay kini maayo, ug ang tinulo sa udlan nga mga matamis sa imong pagtilaw sa imong sa ingon niini ikaw mahibalo og kaalam nga mudangat sa imong kalag. Kung ikaw makakaplag niini nan adunay usa ka balos ug ang imong paglaom niini makawang. Apan pagbanhig o dautan nga tao batok sa puloy-anan sa matarong. Ayaw pagunuba ang iyang dapit nga pahulayan kay ang usa ka matarong nga tawo mapukan sa makapito ug mobangon pag-usab. Apan ang dautan ginalaglag pinaagi sa pagkaalaot. Ayaw pa ikalipay kung ang imong kaaway mapukan ug ayaw panag mayaa ang imong kasing-kasing kung siya mapukan. Tingali unya si Jehova makakita niini og kini dili makapahimuot kaniya. Og ipaiway kaniya ang iyang kasuko gikan kaniya. Ayaw ikasubo ang imong kaugalingon tungod sa mga mamumuhat sa dautan ni masinas sa dautan. Kay walay igabalos sa dautan nga tawo ang lamparahan sa dautan pagapalungon. Anak ko, kahadlukan mo si Jehova ug ang hari. Ayaw pagkuyog kanila nga magabalhin nambalhin-balhinon. Kay ang ilang kagulanan mudangat sa hinanali ug ang pagkalaglag gikan kanilang duruha kinsay mahibalo niini. Kini usab mao'y mga sanglitanan sa manggialam. Ang may pagkapinalabi sa mga tao diya sa paghukom dili maayo. Siya magaigon sa dautan. Ikaw matarong ang mga katawhan magatunglo kaniya ang mga ang mga nasud pagasulod kaniya. Apan kanila ang mga badlong kanila magakalipay ug ang usa ka maayong panalangin maabot kanila. Siya magahadlok sa mga ngabil ni adto nagahatag sa usa ka matarong nga tubag. Hikaya ang imong buhat sa gawas ug andama kini alang kanimo diha sa uma. Ug sa humani ini tukura ang imong balay. Dili ka magasaksi batok sa imong isikatawo sa walay gipasikaran ug dili ka maglimbong uban sa imong mga ngabil. Ayaw pag-ingon buhaton ko kaniya ingon sa iyang gibuhat kanako. Ako magahatag sa tao sumala sa iyang buhat. Ako agi duol sa ulma sa tabulan ug sa kaparasan sa tao nga walay salabutan. O ganiya karon kini gipanugkan sa ibabaw ug mga tunog. Ang nawong ni ana naputos sa mga nipay ug ang batos nga kuta ni ana nalumpag na. Unya nasudong ko ug na una-una pag-ayo. Nakita ko ug nadawat ko ang pahamatgon. Bisan pa niini diyutay nga katulog. Usa ka diyutay nga hinanok, usa ka diyutay nga pakiyupos sa mga kamot aron sa pagkatulog. Busa ang imong pagkakabuhos moabot ingon sa usa ka tulisan ug ang imong kawaladon ingon sa usa ka tawo nga sangkap sa hinagiban. Mga kaigsuonan nga tapos ang atong chapters sa Proverbs. So sa tanan nga naminaw, to all who are listening, may God bless you. Ang grasya ang Ginoo magbubo o grasya kaninyong tanan sa pagpaminaw sa pulong sa Ginoo. ang pulong sa Ginoo mo'y usa ka tulay sa atong panginabuhi sa matag adlaw. So karon migalab shout out na ako sa mga nandito. Migalab shout out everyone. Migalab shout out to our Korean friends. Migalab shout out to Colonel Briggs. Bigyan ko kayo ng jacket. Migalab shout out to our official. Mag-jacket ka na. Salamat sa pagtamsak. So, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. And may God continue to bless you and give you peace. Goodbye for now. Until next time. So don't forget, tonight, may ALS ako tonight. So, abangan nyo. Sige, goodbye na. Goodbye. Goodbye. And smile.